Good hello, thanks for watching another random palm reading. This time I'm going to do something a bit different. Now these are the palms of actually a close friend of mine, and I've known for many years. He's moving into a new work position in life, and I think it's a good time to do a palm reading for someone when they are making a great change in their career. So to provide a bit of context, I already know obviously a few things about this person, and I'm going to explain what I know and how the palmistry here is relevant. So this person was a prison officer, and now he's moving into the fire services, as in he will be now working in fire and rescue service. He is 37, and on the career line that is seen here. This is of course the career line, and you can see it stemming from very low down into Luna itself. It's very strong, and it shows a strong personality. And what this means for this person, well, it's quite obvious. You can actually see this indication of the need for physical change here, this influence, this worry here coming into on the right hand, and the right hand obviously represents what's external. So I'm going to get into explaining a lot more around all of this and what this means for this person. But before I do that, I want to get into what we can see by the shape of the palms and the fingers themselves. So to determine which of the elements this person belongs to, I'm measuring up the longest finger against the length of the palm. And this is just so close. I've been doing a lot of faffing around here. This is the length of the Saturn finger against the length of the palm. And it is just longer than 7/8 of the palm's length. So we know we have long fingers. The palm itself, it's just about rectangular. I mean, there is some sort of squarish quality to it though. This is a very mixed hand, a very complex person. There is certainly some waterish elements. Overall, I'd say mostly an air hand. And, you know, so yeah, you can say square palm, long fingers, just about. But looking at the palmar lines, air hands tend to have very strong sort of the major palmar lines, the head, the heart, and the lifeline. With the other minor lines tend to be sort of quite weak. And we kind of see that, but also we see a very sort of coarse texture to the skin. And air hands generally have a softer texture. So overall we have an air hand with some watery, but also a mixture of the other elements as well. So really the four kind of elements here, Fred Gettings isn't, his system of four isn't really going to get us anywhere. So when this happens, I look to another system, the older system of 6 with the 7th mixed hand. Might well be better, but I find that system a little bit outdated. This is certainly a mixed hand, and this really provides a lot of complexity, a lot of inner complexity, at times, inner sort of turmoil. There's a lot of inner push and pull, and it can create a sense of sort of duality within a person. And often when we see mixed people's hands who are very intelligent, and this person is obviously intelligent, with this type of curvature of the headline and the length of the headline, as well as the little finger as well. I mean, notice how with Mercury you've got, well, that's not a good example, is it? But it's on the pointy side when compared to the other fingers. Jupiter also has quite a nice sort of conic, pointed stance to it. Mercury's certainly on the conic side. And Apollo is very spatulate, showing, an excellent, fiery, sort of exuberant, extrovert, strong personality, along with, as I've already said, this deep lunar seated fate line as well, a large Venus mount. Luna hangs quite low. This adds again to the sort of watery, highly intuitive actually. This person, I don't think they've ever really properly harnessed the true extent of their intuition. But notice how on the right hand, Mercury, the shape of Mercury is completely different, the tip of Mercury, to that of the left hand. The point always shows someone who is quite literally a sharpened tongue. This person is quick to retort verbally. Now this is the left hand. This is inherent And so this person's literal inherited abilities is that they have a silver tongue. And with this sort of almost pointed Jupiter, this really shows the ability to break down and explain information. So not only are they very gifted verbally, but they have the ability to explain and break down, translate information, translate their thoughts. This, I have to say, is the hand of a communicator. And in another life, this person may well have made an exceptional salesperson. And I say this because looking at the left hand, and I'm moving away from the chirognomy already now, notice this long, deep line that cuts into, well, that's not really the right word, it travels up Mercury finger. We don't see it so much on the right hand. Now this in combination with what we see here is actually a really good sign, because this kind of almost bulbous, slightly turned inwards Mercury, tip of Mercury, shows an excellent ability that they've created, they've formed out of their own inherent skills to persuade others. Now, I can only assume that this sort of change in skills over time is a necessity due to the work role. They worked as a prison officer for 10 years. And notice how Apollo and Saturn are a little bit further apart on the right hand than on the left. And this shows that this person was quite happy to work inside of a team and work with others, but now feels somewhat slightly unhappy about working as part of a team. And you can notice that as well by the distance between Apollo and Mercury, which is greater on the right hand as well. So this person now really requires this kind of isolation of expression, this freedom of expressing himself in isolation, values privacy more. Even the thumb appears to have a smaller gap in between, the space between Jupiter, and this sort of indicates to me that this is a person sort of retracting, withdrawing. And this I can only assume as a result of the experiences of their previous job role and the effects that this has had on them. Now, what this line means here is quite curious. I don't see it all that often. This is the left hand. Remember, this is what's introspective. It's what's inward, internal. That's the word I'm looking for. This is, according to Mia Bashir, the legendary palmist of the 60s and 70s who taught my mentor, Terry Stokes, is the sign of a born deceiver. Now this sign, along with this type of Mercury finger, along with this intuition that almost touches the heart line here now, had it, this person would have been truly a gifted trickster, shall we say, con man. And then, combined with this powerful, high set, just a really well developed and almost pointed Jupiter, we have really all the signs here of just an exceptional communicator and a really talented and gifted con man. Inherently, that's not to say that that's what this person is, because this is the left hand. The right hand, as I say, it shows quite a different picture. And remember that the Mercury finger overall is straight on the left hand as well. Had we seen other signs here, a fractured and messy girdle of Venus, a crooked inward pointing Mercury finger, an intuition line or sympathy line that touched the girdle of Venus, crossed the heart line and touched, then we would see, these would be signs to worry about. And actually I saw all those same signs in Ted Bundy's palm. So I'm not comparing this person with Ted Bundy, I'm just trying to point out that although this person has the inbuilt qualities to trick and deceive others, it's not what they are, it's not who they are, it's not what they are doing. It's just to say that they have these exceptional qualities of persuasion and communication and understanding others, this sort of quick fire responses, highly intelligent. The width of the palm, actually, when you you know, the width of a palm shows how someone is able to deal and judge others as well, which lends well to that previous role. But look at the width of the palm. I mean, I can't help but notice, and maybe it's just me, that actually the width of the palm here to me it looks wider on the right hand. I mean, maybe this is just the image, but this would suggest that again this person has broadened their ability to deal with others. A wide hand is often seen on the hands of social workers, judges, police officers. They make good police officers as well. It shows an ability to essentially judge well, and this is another inherent quality within this person, and a quality that they have, an ability that they have strengthened over time as well. The Jupiter finger, the index finger, it's highest set on the right, again showing this person has grown in confidence and their abilities to judge others, make decisions. Their authoritative skills have grown. They have what's known as the eye of Ganesh or Ganesha. It's seen on the right hand, and it shows that it's one of the signs that this is good karma. This is something, they are a good person. They were a good person in a past life as well. And on that note, this fate line is always said to, this type of fate line is always said to be present on the palms of people who have unfinished business from a past life. They are certainly, in terms of Western palmistry, on a course, on a purpose. They have ambition, strong ambition. We don't see it so much in the right hand, especially from that same place. And so you could say that they have really carved their own future. They felt as though they weren't going anywhere, and now they feel they have really carved a path for themselves in life. Now, you've heard me say this before if you've watched many of my other videos. When we see a heart line that kind of reaches downwards like this, branches off and reaches downwards and crashes into the lifeline, it's showing emotional hurt, disappointment, trauma, emotional trauma. This is not what we're seeing here. This is actually the opposite. What we're seeing is a line coming from the lifeline itself and reaching up towards the heart line to touch and cross the heart line and carry on up towards Mercury. It doesn't, it's not as strong after it passes the heart line, and for me this is a sign of injury at this age. This is physical trauma, and this is at the age of, I don't know exactly, 5, 6? I'm going to have to ask this person. The left hand actually shows what I've mentioned previously, where the heart line does appear to reach down. So it shows the left hand is what's internal. So it shows that this physical trauma perhaps affected the person on an emotional level, or perhaps this was an emotional encounter, some sort of emotional trauma that coincided with some sort of physical trauma. Maybe they're not related. I'd find that difficult to believe, especially given that these same events occur at the same time. I want this person to be particularly careful around cholesterol. There isn't a good circulation, and this is often seen with this type of hand, because this is the type of hand who has a very sort of broad shoulders, and those with broad shoulders from the age of 40 onwards have significantly higher risks of cardiovascular issues. The achievement of finishing high school for this person had a dramatic effect on their confidence, it seems. Practically speaking, it didn't have all that much effect on their career. Materialistically, we don't see as dramatic a change on the left hand. However, on the right hand here, later on in life, we do see, so this is about the age of 19, this is about the age of 24, and you can see this, there's a little square there as well. So I'll go back a bit. After the age of 19, this is when we really begin to see, well, the beginnings of breaking away from the headline. And it's not until the age of about 22, 23 when we really see claiming of independence, really sort of carving their own life for themselves. But 19 up to this age, we see a Mars line here. Mars is useful and needed when we're fighting battles. So there was some sort of need here, desire here for assistance in the way they live their life. And then at this age of 23, 24, we've got here this strong drive, determination. Inner Mars is this place of action, motivation, and we can see this need to change their world, essentially, and to entirely change their life. And then after this time, notice how the lifeline tends to actually overlap. There's an overlap here. So we have here massive changes to career, massive change to life. This little square we see here is, squares are always protective signs, and essentially it's due to this overall change they made in their life, this career change, that kick-started and provided them with this overall success. This is their success line. The success line, otherwise known as the Apollo line or the Sun line, is seen underneath the ring finger or the Apollo finger. On the left hand, it's seen much stronger than on the right hand. And what does that mean? Well, it generally means that a person they're making good money, but all of that money is being spent on bills. As soon as it comes in, it comes straight out again. Being that this is a left hand, there's a feeling here that this success, this income is strengthening, that this is looking good for them, and there will be more than one income as well. But primarily their main focus of income will be their strongest. They feel good about the future in terms of income, but at the moment there isn't enough coming in. This decision to change their career in their early 20s is not reaping the rewards anymore. And this overlapping lifeline here, notice how this overall lifeline, the arc of it cuts in quite closely. It was showing a lifestyle that was not as bold. It was quite sort of stagnant. It was limiting. It was not going to provide them with the opportunities to grow, to step outside themselves. Well, this lifeline, this overlapping lifeline here, it's moving outwards into a newer direction. It's emboldening this Venus mount. It's enlivening their personality and their experiences. It's allowing them essentially to live and grow, and that's what this job role did for them. And this I can say, as I know this person, was them joining the army. And then, years later, this job role here, where they carried out this role of a prison officer for 10 years, notice how we've got here on the left hand a square on the inside of the lifeline. This shows a fear of isolation from society. It shows either a fear of hospitalization or being admitted to a psychiatric ward, or a fear of imprisonment. It shows that fear of isolation from society. And also notice how the headline is doubling as well around this time, and it's almost kind of forming an island here. It shows the need to have almost two different heads. This person is having to present themselves and think in a completely different way in two different environments. You've got home life and you've got working in a prison. Now, it stands to reason that a person would have to adapt and evolve, their way of thinking, their mental outlook, their approach when, working in two very different environments. Not that you work when you're at home, but, thinking, having to adapt in a very different environment from the home life. It has created a need here to double the headline. And then at this age here, on the headline, and I don't really like to time events on the headline, it's not very accurate for doing that, but this is the age of 37, which corresponds with this just here as well. And this is a change, this is an obstacle, and notice how the career line actually changes direction after this. This is the left hand, so this is what they're thinking and feeling at this time. And there's uncertainty as the career line is not as strong on the left. But on the right, we see a completely different story. It changes direction, but it's stronger. So we see practically, materialistically, this is a good move for this person. Also, notice the headline as well, and I'm sure you already have. The headline, it's much longer on the right hand. It's deeper, it's stronger. It shows this person is more able to use their mind in a different way. They're going to be happier in this role. There's no doubt about it. In their last role, they were not feeling great about that role, and I know that because of what they told me very recently. Also, notice this here. This was a very difficult period, and actually depression at this point, which actually I think coincided with this initial career move at 24 or so. And this lasted for a period of maybe 4 or so years. No, I've got my timings wrong a bit there. I would say this is 28, 27. Then it lasted for a period of 4 or so years. I do think this person in some way will end up working in some sort of teaching role. And I say that because the career line, notice as it hits the heart line, you could interpret this as the heart line, and you could interpret the career line hitting the heart line and going nowhere after that. I feel that this merges with the heart line. This is a highly emotionally motivated individual. They're just so mixed. It's a very difficult read. They're a hugely complex person, hugely intelligent, and the more intelligent, the more complex a person, the more intelligent, the more difficult the job for the palmist. Now, this age 37, the current change they're going through in their life at the moment is their karmic year. It's their current year of big change. The next year of big change for this person is at the age of 50. And if you look very closely here, you can see on the career line a tiny little sort of, little kind of breakaway there towards Apollo, towards what makes their sun shine, what makes their talent shine, what provides them peace and prosperity, happiness, joy. So there will be an effort made, a huge effort at the age of around about 50. An opportunity will arise at this time for them to improve their life drastically and turn it in a completely different direction. And that direction, I believe, may well be teaching. In any case, it's some sort of role where they are really utilizing their personality, their charisma, and they're putting themselves on show in some way. And whatever it will be, they will gain a lot of enjoyment out of it, and I think it's going to be a good idea. Until then, stick to the straight and narrow. There will be a few times when this person there will be the occasional temptation. However, this intuition, this strongly marked intuition here, combined with a little sort of upward stroke from a forking heart line, provides us with a cross on Jupiter, and this is always a good sign of a happy marriage. Overall I see some really positive signs here. Innately, inherently, inwardly, I can see this person has had quite strong fears around their career. I think that was the need for this change. They probably feared for their health, their safety, or perhaps the financial security of the job in itself. You can see here the forming of actually a couple of squares here by the convergence of several lines. And this need to protect is due to fears, and that's because we're looking at the left hand. Again, at the age of 50, there could well be 53, there could well be some great changes to the family unit, but that's a way off yet, and the lines change all the time. Now then, one final note I'm going to make here. In medieval palmistry, the number of resets roughly related to 30 years. 25 to 30 we have here actually 4. I think we also have that on the right as well, and so this really bodes quite well in terms of longevity for this person. However, there are some possible blood circulatory issues. Cholesterol is a bit of a concern for me, and I want this person to really watch that. Stress, obviously, it's going to have an effect on an already impacted cardiovascular ability. So, anyone can say this, can't they? Avoid stress, avoid cholesterol, particularly these two things. And I have to say, I do love the way the headline forks at the end here. This, again, providing an extra ability to see things. I'm not doing a very good job here, am I? An extra ability to see things from more than one different angle, from more than one perspective. It's known as the writer's forks, where the headline doubles, and it shows this ability to see things through the lives of others. And again, it's going to help in terms of, judging others, communicating with others, persuading others if needed. This person would have made just a superb salesman, and would possibly even make a good writer themselves. This is a highly creative and, as I've already said, intelligent headline. Much later on in life, this person may well see a big move abroad. Let me know your thoughts on this reading, and if you spotted anything I've missed, please do not email me on my Proton email address. It's something's gone wrong with it, and I can no longer read or reply. So please email me at my PiscesPalmist@gmail.com email address only. This is a new one I'm using. I'll be using it from now on. Thank you for all your emails, your comments, your likes, your shares, and all your subscriptions. I'm amazed at just how this channel continues to grow. I will see you on the next one. Thank you. Bye-bye.